This is the 2024 Genesis GV80 Coupé, and it proves that luxury SUVs are not the exclusive domain of the Germans. The Koreans do it as well, and at a better price. Hello, I'm Alex Dalrymple and welcome to this week's episode of Four Wheels and a Seat, my channel where I review new cars every week. To make sure you don't miss an episode, please hit the subscribe button down below, the notification bell, and if you enjoy the video, I'd love a like. Thank you. For 2024, the GV80 has had a bit of a facelift and a new model has joined the lineup, a Coupé. External cosmetic changes are fairly minor, but they're probably most evident here at the front, where the LED headlights have been redesigned with dozens of square, small LEDs that create a really interesting look. The front grille's had a bit of a change, and the lower bumper has also had some cosmetic work done. The GV80 Coupé looks good from just about any angle. We've got some new 22-inch alloys that look awesome. Car rides up fairly high, as you can see. There's a panoramic sunroof on top. We've got this nice silver strip down the bottom here that is, well, when this car isn't quite as dirty as it is now, because I took it on a road trip during the week, it looks really, really good. Another design detail I love in this car is the parallel line that runs right from the front to the back via these two indicator lights here on the side. But I still think the back of the GV80 is possibly its best angle, especially with these parallel tail lights. We've got a big Genesis badge there. Twin exhausts down the bottom, they make a pretty good noise. And under the powered tailgate is a rather sizable 644 litre storage space. Knock down the rear seats, you can expand that to just over 1,000. The GV80 Coupé gets the same engine as the regular GV80, which is a twin-turbo 3.5 litre V6 that outputs 279 kilowatts of power and 530 newton meters of torque, propelling this car to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.7 seconds. Fuel economy, not so efficient, 11.7 litres per 100 kilometers on a combined cycle. Power goes to all four wheels via an 8-speed electronic automatic transmission. The redesigned interior does feel a bit more contemporary than the previous version of the GV80. Gone is the wood paneling and in comes carbon fiber and a fresh, clean design that really does feel a bit more up to the minute. The first thing you notice when you step into the 2024 model is the display in front of the driver. Now, having one single unified display is not uncommon in a new car, but what is uncommon is the fact that this is actually just one giant screen measuring 27 inches. Most cars will have two separate 12-inch displays placed next to each other with a gap in between, but no, this is just one giant screen and it looks amazing. I think this is the way of the future. I haven't seen this in any other car before. It looks awesome. The software running on the center part of this screen is largely similar to how it was before from a functional point of view. Cosmetically, there are a few differences, but that does mean that it has missed out on the software update that is now going into a lot of high-end Hyundai models, which gives them wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This car misses out on that. So we're still in this weird place where an entry-level Hyundai i30 has wireless CarPlay, but this car, which costs about $100,000 more, does not. The sound system has 18 speakers, it's powered by Bang & Olufsen and sounds awesome because, of course it does. Moving down, we've got air vents. The haptic touch buttons underneath that are shortcuts for the system. Now with volume control over here on the side that has been moved up from the lower console in the previous model. The climate controls have also been redesigned with smaller dials now and a bigger screen. Under that, a carbon fiber cubby, which has wireless charging for your phone plus USB-C ports and a 12-volt outlet. The cup holders are now no longer covered by a lid, they're just open, but they do have coloured LEDs around them, which also extend all the way through the cabin, and you can change the colour of those as you see fit. Some more shortcut buttons here for the system and a jog wheel, which I have honestly not touched. I prefer to use the screen. This wheel has been redesigned, is now actually much easier to use than it was in the previous model as well. The gear shifter is exactly the same, however, and has a really nice feel to it. Drive mode selector and the terrain mode selector. You've got a little sticky out part here that actually warms up when you have the seat heating on, so you can keep your left hand warm while you've got your right hand on the steering wheel, which can also be heated as well. A twin lid opening bin here with a removable tray, good size bin. We've got a bright LED head-up display on the windshield in front of the driver. The digital instrument cluster portion of the big screen has been completely redesigned though and has an all-new look that's actually really quite minimal. There's a few different display modes you can choose between, but my favourite one definitely is augmented reality, where an image from the camera at the front of the car can be displayed on here permanently. Previously, that mode could only be seen on the center screen when you had the nav mode on. Now you can have it on full time, and it actually is really good because it shows you your position in the lane at all times. Plus, when you are using navigation, it will show you animated arrows showing you where to go, and also if you're drifting out of the lane. It's just a really good system. I think we're going to start seeing more of this in other cars. The steering wheel has also been redesigned into a more traditional shape. I really didn't like the previous version of the GV80 steering wheel. It was kind of this weird thing that looked like an American wheel from the 1990s. Now it's a bit more conventional and I really like it. Red stitching on here with the Genesis badge and a slightly little flat bottom there, giving it a bit of a sporty feel. It is fully electrically adjustable as well for height and reach, and it's heated too. The seats are Napa leather appointed with quilted stitching. They are heated, ventilated, have a massage function, there's lumbar support, and are supremely comfortable on a long road trip, which I did on the weekend. This is a very nice car to go touring in. The headrest actually feels like a soft leather cushion. So if you're going to be spending a long time behind the wheel, this is definitely a car you want to be doing it in. Well, I can tell you on the weekend road trip, I had zero complaints from my kids about the back seat of the GV80, and this is my first time sitting here actually, and you know what, I can see why they weren't complaining, because it is actually extremely comfortable, but that's not really a surprise in a luxury car like this. Again, Napa leather appointed seats. These seats are also heated and ventilated, and they also have electric adjustment, meaning you can put your seat forward or backward at the touch of a control down here on the right-hand side. There is an additional zone of climate control back here. The temperature back here can also be controlled from the front. 2 USB-C ports, another 12-volt outlet, armrest with cup holders, and another little storage cubby here. For me, being 190 centimeters tall, headroom is a little bit limited, but that's because of the cool looking coupe shape of this car. It's not really a problem in the regular GV80. Knee room, look, there's probably not as much room here as there normally is when I'm sitting in my driver's seat position, because the seat has come back. It does that when you get in and out of the car. So the regular position would actually be all right with me sitting here. We've got the sunroof there, dark headliner. It is a little bit dark back here, but it is extremely comfortable on the plus side, and like I said, no complaints from the kids. So I think everyone will be pretty happy in the back of the GV80 Coupe. Big and powerful are the first two words that leap to mind while you're driving the GV80. There's a lot going on. Parking this car can be a little bit tricky just because of its size, and also the steering does feel just a little bit heavy. But having said that, you do have the top-down 360 camera, which makes life a lot easier. Is the GV80 Coupe a turn-back car, a car so good looking that you have to turn back and look at it after you've parked it? Yeah, absolutely. No questions asked. Like all new Hyundai cars, the GV80 does like to beep a lot. Most of that is to do with speed zones. So whenever the car detects a change in speed zone from the camera at the front, it beeps. Whenever you go so much as 1 kilometre per hour over the speed limit, there's beeping. The problem with that, apart from being obviously an important safety feature, is that it often gets it wrong. So if the speed limit changes because of a work zone or something like that, and there's no sign to tell you that the work zone is over, it will assume that 40 kilometers an hour is the speed limit when really it has gone back up to 80, so there'll be beeping. Or if there's an off-ramp with a speed limit sign, sort of even if it's up on the top left-hand side of the car, it'll still read it and start beeping at you. Even if you're in a 110 zone, it'll think that you should be doing 60. Fortunately, unlike some cars, you can actually turn the sound off but leave the speed sign recognition on. And so you just have to go into the settings and change that, which is fine, except for the fact that it doesn't remember that and you have to change it on every single trip. Oh, and the other beeping you just heard then, that's from the facial recognition system sitting here just above the steering wheel on the steering column, which looks at my eyes and keeps an eye on where I'm looking. So if I spend too much time with my eyes off the road, it beeps. Well, while we're cruising through the tunnel here, I'll talk about drive modes. There's a few of them. Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, which also turns off the traction control. And then there is My mode, which you can design your own drive mode. Then there are the 3 terrain modes of snow, mud and sand. If you happen to head off-road, this car is all-wheel drive. Plus, it also has a braked towing capacity of 2,700 kilograms. So really, it is a comfortable and practical SUV. In addition to the drive modes, there are also driving moods with the Mood Curator. There are a few different modes you can put on: Vitality, Delight, Care and Comfort. Now these change the lighting, the interior lighting in the car. They also play some music over the sound system, and some of them even activate the massage feature in the car. The whole idea is to keep you comfortable and relaxed while you're driving. Not so comfortable that you'll fall asleep, but just relaxed. The V6 engine in this car does make a nice noise, although to be perfectly honest with you, it is not 100% authentic. It is augmented with a bit of additional noise coming through into the cabin to make it sound a bit gruntier than perhaps it actually is. But the performance is actually pretty good, so it probably doesn't really need the extra sound, but I kind of like it. The thin rubber on the tyres does make for a slightly less than smooth ride on potholed roads. It's fine when you're cruising along the freeway, you don't really notice the difference, but as soon as you hit a pothole or anything that's not quite right, like a speed hump, you do notice there's just a little bit of extra vibration coming through the cabin. Well, it's taken several years, and it seems like Genesis are now finally starting to make a bit of inroads into the luxury SUV market. The GV70 is their best-selling car, and starting to see a few more of them on the road. But if you're after something a little bit bigger, a little bit more luxurious, then you should definitely consider taking a GV80 for a test drive. You won't be disappointed.